G'day walkers, it's the bloke who walks here, and welcome to the content creators commentary for the world's longest lunch as part of the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival, and filmed all the way back on the 12th of March 2021, and this commentary is being recorded on the 25th of October 2021. So there's only 2 points that I'd like to talk about during this video, which I think is about 20 minutes long. Oh no, it's 41 minutes long. So we've got a bit of time, and there's two main points I want to make. And boy, what a lot of things have transpired between the day that this was filmed, the 12th of March 2021, and the 25th of October 2021. So what's that? March. So it says 7 months. The amazing thing is looking at this footage. Actually, so the first thing I want to say is that the reason this was held back from being published for so long was because I was not long after, maybe 3 to 4 weeks after I recorded this video, I decided to ditch the this was filmed on the Olympus digital handheld camera, so it's SD quality, but I've pumped it out of the Filmora editing software. It's a HD, but you can still see the difference in the quality. It's, compared to 4K, and obviously the audio. But I love that flare in the camera lens. I love it, and the Sony ZV-1 doesn't really handle that, but I love that flare. But the main reason I held off was because I was pumping up one of my key promotional tags, and I do like branding my content, whether it's written or audio or visual, whatever medium that I'm using. I'm big on branding, and once I started on this branding tagline in my videos of now coming in 4K, or now filming in 4K, or whatever the line is that I use in those videos, I was thinking, well, am I gonna lose viewers, or are people going to be pissed off when they start seeing, the odd video that isn't in 4K? So that was one reason, and then another reason that I decided not to publish this and some other old SD quality footage is because I was trying to churn out 4K footage as fast as I could. And I figured, well, if it gets to a stage where I need some backup footage, from the archives, well, I've got some stuff, that I can, just roll out at the drop of a hat. And that's basically how we got to this point, is that I'd been holding on to this along with some other stuff, and I haven't really been filming. We've just come out of, so this was filmed. You can see how relaxed everything is, that nobody's walking around in masks. I think that this particular period, this was about the 3rd month after our biggest lockdown, our second lockdown in Melbourne throughout the guts of 2020, from August to October 2020, was our biggest, longest stage 4 lockdown. And you can see people here are walking around without masks, working. I was really shocked when I got there that morning to see all these chairs side by side by side by side by side. Now, bear in mind that the Delta variant hadn't really become known to the world yet. my memory of the Delta variant is that it started appearing in news broadcasts, in the media, the print media, the visual media. Started appearing in about April, as far as I can remember, maybe late April, early May. So, you know, to all intents and purposes on this day, Melbourne and Australia generally were feeling pretty bloody chipper, pretty proud of ourselves that, you know, we'd kept suppressing the virus, beating the virus, doing the hard yards. Sydney had some trouble with a cruise ship early on. Later on, Melbourne had some trouble with hotel quarantine. And by this stage, you know, people were feeling really relaxed. Now, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact date or even the month, but I definitely filmed this with a mask on. And later on, I accidentally left in my intro. I was going to do audio only, but I left in the footage as well. You'll see that I do the intro without a mask on, but I took it off basically. But I decided at some stage, late 2020, that I was going to wear a mask all the way through, because I just wasn't altogether sure how things were going to transpire. Also, my parents are in aged care, so I wanted to make sure that I did, you know, my absolute level best to make sure that I was always not a risk to them when visiting them. And the opportunity to do that has been unbelievably few and far between. But that's what it is, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, just playing around here, having a bit of a muck around with you know, the recording, you know, just to try and give the viewer something, you know, slightly different, to make sure that you know. So to make sure that you know that this is a really big deal. So the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival is incredibly well attended by those who want to be part of it. Now, this is just one. This is the Treasury Gardens in Melbourne. And don't you just love that? Find your table. Find your table. Like it, they haven't got restaurant names or brand names or the names of footy teams. It's just got find your table, which I suppose is just common sense, isn't it? But this is on a Friday morning. It's a really, really nice autumn day. Like, the sun's really nice, but you can see a bit of frost on the grass. Fantastic Melbourne weather. And yeah, no accident that I'm down there at that time of day. Like, my plan actually was to film really early in the morning. I can't remember whether I thought that they were going to be set up. I think like, actually, this is the first time I've ever been to this event, like, made the effort. And I didn't buy a ticket. Like, I was just roaming around. And I've been wearing a high-vis vest as well, so like I could have been staff. If somebody had to challenge me, like, I would have said, yeah, I'm part of the film crew with the high-vis vest on. But nobody sort of looked sideways at me. And later on, they started putting up signs on the paths here that you couldn't walk through, but you can see people walking through, getting to work. And I was really chuffed with myself. You know, because this was all accidental. Like, I was just making it up as I went along. So I was quite pleased, and it was a really nice morning. The sun was fantastic, as you can see. And even though it's just an Olympus filming in SD quality, like, you can still get a good sense of just what a great venue and time of year this is for Melbourne. Like, Melbourne's just great with its events. There's always something going on, whether it's sport or art or culture or festivals like this. We do them all. So this is Treasury Gardens. That was looking towards the CBD, Spring Street. We've panned south. We're now looking east. We're now looking north. That's the Treasury buildings there, the Parliament offices for the State Parliament. Now, the reason there's a bit of jump cut here is because it's just to get rid of extreme sudden camera movements that are just taking you out of the experience. So I just decided to err on the side of caution and make those quick jump cuts this time. But I mean, look at that. Look at that. This is autumn or fall. If you're North American, it's again just wheeling around, looking west towards Spring Street. Behind those trees right now is Flinders Street rail yards, and looking south towards the MCG and the Australian Open Melbourne Park. So by this stage, filming, I've been filming for 10 minutes. I was pretty pleased with myself, and it was really just a case of just wandering around and getting as much footage as I could. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, was to explain, why we've had months of 4K videos and why we're suddenly going back to SD quality videos. Another reason is because beyond having this in the archives and it wasn't published yet, is that I really haven't been filming much of the recent months. There's a couple of reasons. One reason is because Melbourne's been in its another lockdown. We went into lockdown on the 17th of August, number 6, and we've only just come out of it on Friday the 22nd of October 2021. And it's just all getting a bit it's just getting a bit long in the tooth now, all this lockdown stuff, even though I fully support it and always have. I'm fairly lucky that I don't have kids, and I don't have, well, I will admit to being unemployed or between jobs at the moment, but I've got it pretty easy compared to others, to be honest. And I live by myself, and except for some extremely questionable behaviour from some of my neighbours, and being able to go out and about and film and experiment with this channel. Just taking my time to take in the sights. So you can see the frantic activity and dishing out the free hats. So all these tables are going to be filled not by the general public, but by corporates. It really is a corporate bonding exercise, the Food and Wine Festival. I'm pretty sure that it's just populated with people from the corporate world. And I will admit that I don't know that for a fact. I mean, the general public might very well be the main patrons of this event, but it's pretty exy. Like you can see the level of detail going into setting up these tables is next level. In fact, it's only just now that I'm watching the footage that I'm realising they were putting hats on the seats. So it's one size, one style fits all. So too bad if you're a fashion conscious bloke or lady and you don't like the hats. But anyway, they're making the effort, and you can see this is a good example of the events industry, how hard COVID has hit, because all these guys would have been on tenterhooks throughout the previous lockdowns and the subsequent ones. That none of this could have gone ahead. But yeah, like I said before, I was really shocked at how packed in. Like it's amazing, isn't it? Like I don't know about you, the viewer, but like COVID has really affected the outlook on socializing. You see footage of people close together. It was really hard. It was really a head spin watching the bombs go off in July when Boris Johnson declared Freedom Day, and they're all at the pubs and hanging off each other with no masks and getting pissed and dancing and all that. Now this is all about to happen in Melbourne, of course, and Sydney, because basically our state governments have just, with the media trumpeting the words Freedom Day and all this. But for me personally, like it's going to be a huge adjustment, and I think for a lot of other people too. That so what, we're 3 days out of lockdown. We've still got some restrictions, and you know, there's still nobody on the trains. The workplaces are still not filling up. It's going to take a while, and you know, I remember filming this and thinking, I can't believe how close those seats were. But now that I'm watching the footage 7 months later, and you know, this was filmed, as I said, before Delta variant, you know, it's really sent people into just this existential angst, hasn't it? Because it's just so much more transmissible and dangerous than what we've been getting used to already. And so it's a huge mental exercise, isn't it? Now that we're coming out seemingly the other side. So yeah, I was really we're not quite halfway through this video, but I was really keen to just capture as much detail as I could and take my time. So you know, it's not strictly a walking video, this one, is it? But this sort of is a good example of, you know, I was trying to strategize this video content in a big way by filming life in Melbourne and what we're famous for, which is our experience economy, our tourism, our festivals, our shows, our sports events, like, which all you know, thrown in together. There's always something going on in Melbourne, and you know, look at how the event blends itself into our public space. Like, it's just brilliant, isn't it? And I was really keen to swing around and capture that tram going past. That's in Wellington Parade. That tram is travelling east towards the MCG and Richmond. I was a bit sneaky there, following that lady, panning around to follow that lady, because I realised as she was going past that she had a dog on the stroller. And hello to you. So look at all those glasses. And then, yeah, I was just trying to break up the visual a bit. So apologies if that you know, that pan upwards is too sudden or whatever, but maybe I was a bit lazy with the editing there. But I was just trying to capture the, you know, how grandiose the view was. And does it make any difference to you? Oh, now that's maybe a good thumbnail. Does it make any difference to you that it's not in 4K? Now I've got the sound switched off, so as I'm recording this commentary, I can't hear the sound. But you know, you can also hear the birds and you know, the background noise of the trams, and you know, it's at different stages you'll hear the conversations of the event staff as they set up, and the supervisors are directing people this you know, this way and that. So yeah, I'm just taking my time. That we're nearly at the halfway point of the video, and I wasn't too concerned about rushing around trying to film this and that, because in all honesty, and I forgot to put the titles on properly here, that I've got the world's longest lunch, but I forgot in this video, I did the teaser second, so the teaser has got it, but in this video I forgot to put a title about the Food and Wine Festival, because that's the whole reason why the world's longest lunch exists. But yeah, while I was filming, because there was so many staff around, I always feel very self-conscious no matter when I'm filming or where I'm filming. And I was expecting somebody to come up to me and say, you know, what are you doing? Who are you? You're not part of the film crew, or because you'll see later on. And I'm not sure if I captured them actually doing it, but film crew and photography event staff show up towards the latter stages of this video. And so I was relieved when I saw that, because just the fact that they were there doing their job made me feel better that I wasn't standing out too much, because I mean, when you're walking around when you're walking around weaving in and out of people just trying to do their job, you see those girls there, the event staff setting up that table, and I didn't talk to them. I didn't say, "Oh, excuse me, do you mind if I film?" Like, I just went for it. Like, my attitude is just do it until you're told not to, and I'm pretty respectful of the setting that I'm in, and I was happy they had their back to me, those girls. But I've just lost my train of thought. But I just felt a lot more comfortable once I saw the real film and event photography crew doing their thing, because I always film in a high-vis vest, and it's a good strategy that not only does it keep you highly visible, in situations like this you blend right in. So that's the reason why this video has been published 7 months after it was filmed, and it's a great time capsule. It's really hitting me hard. Is just what we've gone through as a city and a culture. The last 7 months with the Delta variant, 280 days in very hard lockdown over the last 18 months. Like, it feels like I'm watching this footage, and I literally feel like somebody else has filmed this, like a completely different individual. Like, I feel so far removed from the person that I was on this day filming this, and I don't say that lightly. This year has been it's been something. Now, I just stepped back to get that prop in the frame, because that's one of the old style water troughs for the days back in the days when there was horses going around the joint. Okay, welcome back to part 2 of this commentary. Had some issues with the playback a couple of days ago. So we've just passed the horse trough. Left there is a historical marker of days gone by. So by this stage, I was pretty happy with how the footage was panning out. I wanted to do this video all in one long shot without pausing. And so from here, it was a matter of just keeping it interesting for the viewer and myself, rather than double back through the park and film the same area. I decided to go up the median strip of this road here, and we're looking across to the gardens there, the other side of Treasury Gardens. Just to the extreme right of the camera, out of shot before it turned around, was Captain Cook's cottage. So again, just trying to give you a sense of what Melbourne's inner city layout is like. I'm not in. I was about to mention Central Park in New York, but Treasury Gardens doesn't really have much on Central Park in New York, but you can see the way the city's laid out. So we're on the eastern side of the CBD grid. We're looking west there towards the CBD. You can see these parks, the way they're laid out by the city planners back in the day. Well laid out with parks and gardens, and my only concern about the future of Melbourne is that as our population grows, and traditionally Melbourne is Victoria's a fairly conservative culture in its outlook, but I've noticed over the last 10 years that our green spaces are ever decreasing, and parklands that were set aside for decades, going back to early settlement, areas that were set aside for parklands and breathing space and green areas that people could relax in. They're getting smaller and smaller. And the best example I can give you of this, just a segue for a little bit, is that the area where the Australian Open, Tennis Open is held, Melbourne Park. If you're a tennis fan, you'll know that the Australian Open was traditionally always held at Kooyong Park in the eastern suburbs of Melbourne. And in the early 80s, the state government at the time realised that we were going to have to offer a better infrastructure. We'd have to improve and change in order to keep the Open as part of the international tennis circuit. Because around about that time, it was becoming leaders in political and business circles were beginning to realise that Australia's economy was going to be depending on knowledge and tourism and experience and events. And manufacturing was never going to be supported by the population. Even back in the 80s, they were realising that. So to get to the point is that the Australian Open, where the Australian Open stadiums and courts are now, was basically just open playing fields and park area, and would just be community sport or amateur sport, cricket and Australian rules football traditionally. And you can see that the camera's just edging back into the Treasury Gardens now from the extreme eastern side of the park, and we're now just going through, heading back towards the area where I started filming. So just to finish off that anecdote is that the decision was made to build on that park area, and now it's got to the point where the Australian Open, those grounds at Melbourne Park, tennis courts, have extended a long way east to take out all of those community parks that used to be there on that northern side of Swan Street, and now also the football stadium for the soccer matches that has been built. The old Olympic Park Stadium, which was where the 1956 Melbourne Olympics were held, that's been converted into a dedicated area for one of the national Australian rules football teams. So yeah, the concern, just from a personal point of view, is that all these green spaces, the thing that's Melbourne's known for, these fantastic parks and gardens, the open areas, are just slowly hiding in plain sight. This growth is slowly overtaking all our fantastic green spaces. And even on a more personal note, a lot of our traditional gardens, which were, Australia started out as a colony of England, and all these fantastic trees which were brought in from England, slowly there's this contemporary view that we should only have Australian flora in our parks and gardens, which means people are starting to, some sections of the public and the government, environmentalists, they're starting to it's becoming more and more mainstream, the conversation that all these traditional garden settings should be completely changed, root out the European trees and bushes and gardens, and I hope that never happens, to be honest, because these gardens are part of Melbourne's character and personality. Anyway, so now once I got to just talking about the footage again, once I got back to this area, by now, half an hour into this video, should obviously, it's pretty plain to see that there's, it's the setup, the way this event is presented. you see the tables stretching all the way back from the central area of the park, like spokes in a wheel to all different directions. And once I realised that I was, not going to be picked up, or there was no real security around while they were setting up, and I wasn't being a nuisance or in the way, it just made sense to get a bit closer to the action and try and get some footage of the people setting up the event. And it dawned on me while I was filming this on the day, and again this is the 12th of March 2020, and this is about, by this stage, Melbourne had started relaxing into a fairly, getting on with things type of lifestyle. But you can see that no one's wearing masks, because at this stage the Delta variant was yet to make its way from India. It was called the Indian variant at that stage. And as I was filming this, it occurred to me, well, this is probably the first event that these people have been able to work at, because over the summer there was no international cricket, there was no crowds. Melbourne had a really terrible run, losing all our international events. We lost. It started off with the Grand Prix virtually on day one of the pandemic. We lost our entire football season. The grand final was for the Australian Rules Football League was held interstate. All the finals were interstate. There was all our traditional events, like the Royal Melbourne Show for the kids, holidays in September cancelled. All the race meetings were held at empty tracks, no crowds, barely any staff or trainers. We lost the Melbourne. Did we lose the Melbourne Cup? I can't remember. And we lost the Boxing Day Test. So, and we barely, by the skin of our teeth, held on to the Australian Open as things were beginning to slowly start up again. So it dawned on me while I was filming this that these people were basically probably putting in their first shift at an event, and their first chance to work for maybe 8 or 10 months. And of course, little did we know on this day that it's fair to say worse was to come. And it was only a few days ago that we came out of our 6th lockdown, where with all those heavy-handed restrictions that were just a necessity to get through. And it's only now that the things are opening up again, purely based on being the majority of the population being vaccinated. So it's all been a very difficult experience, is probably understating it. So if you have been through that and found the going tough, one of the reasons I'm recording these videos is for those stuck at home, or had been stuck at home, that you'd see get a bit of variety into your day. So it just occurred to me, just try and pick up different snippets of people going about their business. By this stage, I felt comfortable. I was fitting in. I was wearing a high-vis vest myself, and I was wearing a mask, and I've been wearing one all the way through since maybe September, October 2020, because I figured, well, why not? And it turned out to be a good decision, because the mask mandate came in, of course. I think there was a couple of film crew pop up at this stage. I think a photographer walked past before, and there was a case of just thinking, well, how am I going to wind up this this video? That's really all there was to it. By this stage, I forget what time of day it was by this stage, whether it was 8 o'clock or 8:30. You can see the photographer there. It was a case of, well, I'll come back later in the day. Now, as it turned out, one thing that dawned on me at some stage towards the end of filming this part in the morning, that I realised as I kept taking in the image of all those chairs stacked together, it just struck me as it just didn't strike me as safe, as the right thing to do, to be honest. To have so many people sitting next to each other, standing next to each other, and it's either just before I finished filming or just after I left the area that I thought to myself, and then when I saw by this stage they were starting to close off the public area, that you could only get in unless you had a ticket to the event, and it dawned on me that I probably wasn't going to get very good access to the event to walk around and film people eating, which was my intention. My intention was to go back as things were starting up for the actual event and people sitting down eating and food was being brought out and drinks, and just capturing that that atmosphere of just socialising and getting back to normal. That I sort of thought, well, maybe there's no point going back, and so that's what I ended up doing, that I didn't go back to film the lunch. So now the footage changes here, and this is actually the start of the video.
Welcome to this walking life.
But I realised one of the things I've been
Melbourne,
trying
Australia.
to learn with YouTube is, and here's my
the Melbourne Food and Wine Festival starting
presentation
today,
camera. I was
Friday
going
the
to chop
13th
this
of
out,
March
just
2021.
have audio, so
And this morning we're at the world's longest
got
lunch,
away from
preparations
the
for the
edit.
world's
But,
longest lunch.
one of the things I've been
We're going to
learning
check
is
out
to start with the
preparations and
best
then come back
footage
at
first. So
midday today
what I decided to do was put all this
when things start going.
footage of showcasing the area around the park, and these are the Treasury and Parliament buildings, and that's looking towards Spring Street. Is in the edit I decided to put this at the end, because what I'm finding, this channel, so it's been going for a year, very poor numbers, very low subscriber numbers, very poor viewing numbers, very poor watch time numbers, and I know for a fact that people aren't watching or looking at footage at the 35-minute mark. And these statues are of Victorian state premiers. This is a statue of John Cain, which links into that anecdote about the Australian Open. He was the premier who made the decision to build the stadium at Melbourne Park, and quite a forward-thinking bloke for his time. A bit controversial towards the end of his political career, because in the late 80s, when the economy was going down the tubes, it was his government that was in charge. That because of the way things panned out, we lost a lot of our financial institutions across the country, and our state took the biggest hit with the way things panned out with the credit and the economy at the time. But he is known for a few initiatives that have had long-lasting benefit and a positive effect, and that decision to build the infrastructure and the stadiums at Melbourne Park, because that it's not just tennis, it's also events and concerts and things like that as well. So it was just a case of I was down there on the ground. Why not include this in the video at the end, knowing full well that people aren't probably still watching at this stage, and that's not being negative, that's just being familiar with the analytics and the stats and the data of this channel as it stands October 2021. So there's a few minutes left, so what I'll just say here is that this channel, I'm a bit disappointed that after a year I haven't really achieved much with it in terms of viewers. I think I kind of understand why, and so I'm going to keep at it and keep pushing, filming, and just see if I can get improvement. So I've lashed out, purchased yet another camera, so there'll be 3 cameras that will have been used, and we'll just from here it's just a case of sticking with it and seeing if anything eventually does turn around. Whether it does or not is up to you, the viewer, basically, or the viewers. But yeah, I think the things that underpinning the way I'm going about this, I think have merit. And that's the final shot of the city skyline as we wind down for the last 90 seconds. And here's some snippets from the trailer. But you can see Melbourne's got a lot to offer if you're ever thinking of visiting here from overseas. This is just one event of many. There's always something going on throughout the year, and it's worthwhile coming for. And there's plenty of attractions and good reasons to come and visit. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe. I hope you give us a like, because that's what promotes the videos. I'm the bloke who walks. This has been This Walking Life, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.